What up, fuckers? Guess who built this deck ass backwards? So, I actually filmed this video already, then Modern Horizons 3 came out. The deck needed some substantial alterations, and I figured I should probably just refilm it. So, tokens we'll get to in a moment. Well, actually, tokens we can do right now, because Jinnie, Jetmir second. If you create one or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog tokens with vigilance. She watches Jetmir's back while her companions watch hers. So, quick look at the tokens then. We have these lovely cat and dog tokens that a friend of the channel, Maya, was kind enough to hook me up with at Command Fest in Birmingham earlier this year. She was judging there as well. It's fucking cool. And we have cat. 2 rebels and an elk. And on the backs, I didn't realise this. On the back, it has some irrelevant stuff and as many dogs as they have cats. It was real damn difficult finding a good quality screenshot of what was his name again? Matthew Devitt. That's it. Matthew Devitt as the dog from that one episode of Red Dwarf. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know why there's some guy on the cat token, he's the cat from Red Dwarf. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Yeah, these other tokens, just to credit where credit's due. Alberto Espalestros for the 2 meme tokens, and Voidborn for the pretty cats. There's also a spare sleeve in the box. Just ignore that, there's an extra. It's how these things go. So, onto the deck itself then. So, traditional build for Jinnie is go wide tokens and get mad value from all the tokens being cats or dogs rather than whatever the hell they're normally meant to be. And with that in mind, start out with the token generators in this deck. Which go to about there. So, token generators then. Put the rest of the deck to the side. We have Monastery Mentor. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you create a 1/1 white monk token with prowess, by which I mean a cat. Ocelot Pride, new addition to the deck. I was lucky enough to pull 2 copies on pre-release day. Fucking hell. My luck. So, 10 permanents, absolutely no problem in a Jinnie deck. Left game doesn't really matter. That's not what this is there for. You're going to be creating quite a lot of tokens, so you may as well get more tokens per token, hence Ocelot Pride. Rare of the Shire, brings something back and gets you a cat. Converter Beast is where things start to get a little bit fucky. Because ETB, incubate 5. So basically, you get your commander out on turn 3. Turn 4 you cast this. Jinnie triggers. Instead of an incubator token, you create a 2/2 cat with haste. This means on turn 4 you have a 7/7 haste. Which is fucking terrifying, and I love it. Peregrine Took. Whenever you create tokens, you get a cat. Farmer Cotton is secure the waste but better, basically, in Jinnie. Seeing as, let's say you cast both of them, let's say you have 8 mana open. Alright, you cast Secure the Waste in Jinnie, you get 7 cats. You cast this guy, yeah, it costs 1 more mana going into it, meaning that X has to be 6 rather than 7, but you get 12 cats. Because half of them are food and half of them are halflings. Bootlegger Stash. I really managed to get this out in 1 game, and it resulted in just this amazing misdirect. I think it was against Maya, and she was concerned about me ramping from this, not realising what it actually does, which is make all my lands tap for cats. Very fun. So, you may be wondering, why so few token generators in the deck does token generation. We'll get there in a moment. Next up is the interaction suite, which goes to about here. So, Swords to Plowshares, a nice obvious one. Azorius Predation. It's a green board wipe, basically. I wanted some kind of board wipe in each of the deck's colours. And you don't have a ton of options in green. This is one of those rare times where you're better off creating the type of token this creates. Unless your opponent's just tear a bunch of 1/1s, and you can just cast that on first main and swing them afterwards. It's a rather fancy version of Vanquish the Horde. We'll be seeing more of this secret lair later. Which feels weird, I know, but we go with it. This other secret lair artifact mutation that I didn't know was available in the secret lair form. And I had to get this printing once I knew it existed, because look at it. I really like Mystical Archive as like a thing. Nice recent addition, Trickster's Elk. It is... hang on, the other one's in here somewhere. Yeah, it's Camera's transformation minus the card draw. Except when it dies, it doesn't just die, it dies and you get an elk. Fucking love it. Camera's transformation, same thing, but you don't get the elk. Also just want to highlight... wait, is that one dead? Anyway, Blast Act. It's a red board wipe. Aura Mutation is in here for the same reason as Artifact Mutation. It's 2 mana, blow something up and get a fuckload of caps out of it. Cabaret Charm. All 3 modes here are potentially useful. Like, it's a trample enabler. Worst case scenario, it gets you a couple of dogs to block with. And you're going to have quite a few creatures, so you can probably kill something with it. If you need to. Rebel Salvo. Again, affinity for equipment hints at where this deck is going. Right, but it means you can get around indestructible stuff. Very useful. Wear and Tear, another artifact or enchantment removal. And potentially artifact and enchantment removal if you cast both. Beast Within. It does what it does. Still from Existence, nice and simple one. It's just basically Grasp of Fate, but you only hit one thing, but as a trade-off, it has Ward, so it's more expensive to get rid of, and there's only one person trying to get rid of it. Now for the interesting stuff. Let's go down this far for this. This is what the deck is built around. Living Weapon is a keyword. When this equipment enters the battlefield, put a 0/0 black germ creature token on the battlefield and attach this to it, by which I mean a 2/2 cat with haste. So, for 5 mana, Battle gets you a 6/6 Vigilance Lifelink Haste, assuming your commander's on board, which it likely will be, as it's cheap to cast, and thus easy to recast, and it's rarely going to be the big threat on the board. You're usually going to something a lot more dangerous than her. Sickle Slicer. 3 mana 4/4 haste. For Mirrodin, it isn't quite as effective, but there's enough going on with it that it's worthwhile. Like, for example, this one, it does just enter as a 2/2 haste, but it does get you the card draw, and it is still a 2 mana 2/2 keyword. It's still value. Nettle Cyst. And a Living Weapon, +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. You're going to have a lot of enchantments. This is going to get pretty big. And the base creature is also going to be a 2/2 haste. Mandibular Kite, classic 1 mana 3/3 flying haste. We love to see it. Caldra Complete is one of the only ones that you're going to cast as a dog. On the grounds that it already has haste, but it doesn't already have vigilance. Which means that this is a 7 mana, 6/8 vigilance, first strike, trample, indestructible haste. Of exiles anything it deals combat damage to. Vigilance on this thing is fucking bullshit, because it means that you can swing, and they're faced with the choice between having their blocker exiled and taking some damage, or taking more damage and keeping the blocker. But then if they swing at you on your turn, you can just do the same thing. You just exile the fucker. Great. Bladehold War Whip. Makes everything else a little bit cheaper. And also gets double strike, which is fun in the right circumstances. Bitter Thorn. 4/4 haste with, when it attacks, you ramp. It's really useful being able to cast this and immediately get use out of the ability without paying any extra mana. Flayer Husk is another nice simple one. A 1 mana 3/3 haste. Citizen's Crowbar is the only non-keyword one of these, but it still has value because it's a 2 mana 3/3 that I can also blow up an enchantment with. Hexplate Wallbreaker is a fucking fun one. Like, on one hand, yeah, it's a 5 mana 4. It's a 5 mana 4/4 haste, but it's a 5 mana 4/4 haste that gives me extra combat step. Skinwing, a 4 mana 4/4 flying haste. Nice, worth it. Strandwalker. Yeah, Strandwalker is another one where it's usually worth casting on the dog side. Just so it's a 5 mana 5/5 vigilance reach, basically the ideal blocker. Hexfield Hoverwings. Quick Reach has flying, and a nice anthem effect, which is what it's mostly there for. New addition to the deck, Colossal Dreadmask. No legs to quake, no lungs to bellow, but if you see its teeth, it's still too late. Yeah. At some point during the invasion of Ikoria, this thing happened, and I fucking love it. It basically gives the quick creature the stat line of Colossal Dreadmaw on top of its own stat line. Which means that it's a 6 mana 8/8 trample haste in Jinnie Fate, which is a little bit wild. Batterbone, nice simple one, 3/3 vigilance haste lifelink. Hexfield Halberd, a 2/2 first strike trample haste. This is one of the less effective ones on the deck. Shoulder Decapitation, a quick creature gets +10/+10, loses flying. It's another one where it's usually not worth equipping by itself, but if you get Trample in there, you can get some wacky shit going on. Right, next category then, we have Masterwork of Ingenuity, which can copy any of your equips and enter as it. Sleep Reserve for Sculpting Steel that I haven't put in this deck yet for some reason. Can enter with a copy of any artifact in the battlefield, so you can copy one of your equips again. Mirrorworks, whenever another non-token artifact enters the battlefield you control, you pay 2, and create a token with a copy of it. So again, you can copy any of the Living Weapon equips. Right, now for the stuff that is in this deck. Equipment support / equip creature support, of which there is a fair amount. Teleportation Circle is an odd one, but hear me out, right? It can flicker artifacts, but you flicker the living weapon. Right, you swing with the cat, it's tapped. You flicker the living weapon, it enters on the dog, you have a vigilance blocker for next turn. Fighter class, mostly here for the tutor. The cost reduction is also pretty handy. Last ability can combo pretty nicely with Cauldron Complete, but usually isn't worth getting to that level. Bruno Battlehammer, it just makes your equip stuff bigger and gives you free equips. Armored Skyhunter, it's kind of a soft tutor for equipment, you know? It swings you at the top 6 cards of your library, and you can just put something straight into the battlefield from there. The equipment can equip to a creature, but it's usually just going to auto-equip, so there's no real need to do that. Forge Anew gives you a free equip a turn, and free equip a turn on each of your turns, and lets you equip at instant speed. Very useful, and also return an artifact from bin. Completing the Evil Dead Secret Lair cards in this set, we have Ash. Now, I know there's some people took issue with him as Pure Steel Paladin, but bearing in mind, this is Ash in the first movie. He's not Ash there. He's not This Is My Boomstick. He's not even Chainsaw Hand yet. He's some guy. It makes perfect sense that he isn't a legendary creature, because at this point, he isn't. He's not a legend yet, he's just a guy. Anyway, racing the Pure Steel, skinned card of Pure Steel Paladin. Equipment ETBs draw a card, and equipment costs nothing to equip as long as I have 3 or more artifacts. which is rather useful. Against all odds, I can exile target artifact. I can basically flicker target artifact or creature, which again gives me a way of late in my turn flickering a living weapon artifact and getting it on a fresh token, which can be rather handy. And yeah, I can also just fetch something from bin. You know, there's a lot of good hits in the deck. And Curio Fearless Voyager, another card draw engine. The other part isn't really relevant. Fancy version of Steel Shaper's Gift. It's an equipment tutor. We already had one of those, nothing special there. Shira the Shattered Blade, I believe, was from one of the Neon Dynasty precons. But basically, whenever an Aura equipment ETBs, you get a free token, goes over the deck, and at the beginning of your end step, each creature you control that has any kind of equipment on it gets a free counter. Danitha lets you recast from bin. Thram, it's card draw. Heavenly Blade Master is one of a few different win cons here. Like, late game, you have a board of living weapon things, but you're having trouble breaking through your opponent's board. This enters, it sucks up all of the equipment that you've got on the board, buffs all your shit to hell and back, and then swings massively. Nahiri, yeah, figure equipment's always nice, and it basically gets you impulse draw when you attack with a quick creature, and on top of that, lets you cast equipment you impulse draw for free. Rayav just gives all your quick creatures double strike. Less immediately useful, but still pretty cool. Sorry, just trying to keep the piles separate. Let's keep the weapons in with. Let's keep the equipment copying in with the regular equipment. Miscellaneous good shit. Panharmonicon doubles all my token gen. And Great Train Heist. Another way of getting a second combat phase, and the option of buffing my shit and giving it all first strike, and potentially getting me shitloads of ramp. Or a fuckton of cats. Speaking of ramp, we're on to the mana-based stuff now. We have Commander Sphere, Arcane Signet, Entity Restoration, which, like, in this deck, you're going to have no problem hitting the second clause there. You're probably going to have something with power 4 or greater. You should be able to sack a land to get 3 basics. Pretty handy. Cultivate. You know what Cultivate does. Abundant Growth is just simple mana fixing card draw. Monumental Henge is one of the new additions that basically lets you get an artifact, legendary, or saga from the top 5 cards of your deck to hand for 4 mana and tap, which in this deck, when all of this is artifacts, and almost all the artifact support is legendary creatures, a lot of historic permanents, a lot of potential hits for this. You're gonna hit something from it, almost guaranteed. On to Jewels then, Canopy Vista, well, Duels and Triples, Naya Panorama, Rugged Prairie, Exotic Orchard, Fooktop Retreat, Rockfall Vale, Scattered Groves, Risk Grove, Sundown Pass, Jungle Shrine, Fury Calm Snarl, Game Trail, Rootbound Crag, Sheltering Landscape, which I switched out, I believe, either Revolving World or Terramorphic Expanse for, because this is just those cards, but better. Overgrown Farmland, Sacred Peaks, Cinderglade, Command Tower, Wooded Bastion, Fortified Village, some Petal Grove, and some pretty basics from good old Streets of New Capenna, the set that the commander's from. So, yeah, game plan here isn't entirely to go wide. There's enough go wide stuff in there for you to go pretty wide when you want to, but usually the game plan is to get a bunch of equipped creatures and overwhelm your opponents with sheer value. And by God, it works and it feels good doing it. Anyway, I will see you next week when I'll be checking out I haven't decided which decks I want to cover next yet. There's a couple that I'm waiting on cards for that are going to need a little more playtesting, but I might do something in Orzhov next. See you then.